Intro again. All right, we are back. We are again here. I see little things moving that indicate that James and Rob are making sounds, and that makes me happy. I am Dave LeClaire. With me is a wolf named James Bruce in the UK. Hello, James.
Ah!
Look at that bar moving. That is a beautiful sight to see. And with me is Robert Wiesahan. What's up, Rob?
Hey, James looks positively furtacular today. What have you done with your fur, James?
I went to get my I went to the thing where
The
you
groomer?
the groomer. That's it.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. What's your conditioner? What conditioner do you use for that fur?
Only Tonian guy.
So the
Love
chat
it.
is telling us that we sound good, and that makes me happy. I don't know what I fucked up the first time, but I'm still new at this, guys, so bear with me as I fail my way through this process.
All right, well we're here now.
So before the internet died and exploded and we all went to hell, we were talking about Dragon Age. So we're going to have Rob start his thoughts on Dragon Age over from square one because none of you heard his thoughts in what he was saying before. We were saying
Oh,
how
yeah.
the game is very good. We got that part out, and then we kind of just disappeared off the face of the planet. So let's take it from square one, Rob. Why is Dragon Age so good?
Okay, so Dragon Age Inquisition. You guys, it just came out Tuesday. If you want a BioWare game, like the dictionary definition of a BioWare game, if you like talking to a bunch of endearing cast members and possibly sleeping with them, if you like really good set piece encounters, if you like making really impactful moral and ethical choices and seeing the consequences of those things play out for good or for ill, that's the game you're getting. That has always been BioWare's strength, and that's on parade here. I think I would say I've played one of the finest set piece encounters they've ever made. When you get to the Winter Palace, you'll see what that's all about. But man, just a masquerade ball full of courtroom intrigue. It was a really incredible sequence. It takes a lot of hints from other RPGs we've seen lately. It takes little bites out of Dark Souls. It takes little bits of Skyrim. It's got some of that kind of old schooly RPG feel again that we saw in things like Divinity: Original Sin. You can, we've got that ability to zoom back out, do that overhead tactical view again. So if you wanna play your combat out in real slow, not even like a turn-based fashion, but you can like pause time, issue commands to all your party members, and then hold a single button to advance time until you need to intervene again. You can do that kind of stuff.
Oh, I'm liking this now.
Yeah, you can do that, and it's usually the best way to survive too, because you've got they've taken healing magic out of the equation in combat. Instead, you've got barrier magic and guard abilities for your non-magical characters. And so the dynamic of the combat tends to be trying to pace and establish these defensive tools to give you hit point buffers above and beyond what your normal HP is, because if you run out of guard and you run out of barrier, you're taking actual hit point damage. That's got to be recovered by the potions, which are limited. You can only recover them at camps in the open world, or like supply caches in the story missions. It's really depressing when a story mission doesn't have properly paced supply caches, because then you get stuck. But yeah, the game's really good. I would say the one thing that's not so hot about it is the open world kind of part of it. So, like I said, the story stuff BioWare does is incredible. That's the stuff you constantly want to be pushing forward. And yet there are going to be times when you can't push that forward, because in order to open the zones where that stuff takes place, you need to accumulate a political currency called power. And you get power by doing some of the most generic BS MMORPG questing you can imagine. Like, it's great that we're going around the land sealing demon rifts, but by about the 20th demon rift, you're over it. There's every zone does have some unique kind of story-related questing, but it's also accompanied by like stuff you're going to trip over that's very rote, that's very just, mechanical, and make sure you collect X collectible. There's 12 of it in this zone, and make sure you close all the demon rifts and establish all the
this sounds
camps.
annoying.
It is. And so, like, what'll happen is you'll come off like a really cool story sequence. And let me tell you, the MMO RPG BS that you're going to do is totally worth enduring for those really, really good story bits. But you're going to come off a story mission on a huge high and be like, oh, yeah, I want to follow this through. I want to see the next thing. And it's going to be, I haven't banked enough power to open that zone. So then it's back to like an hour or two of MMORPG kind of questing. Now you can do that wherever you want, and there is, to its credit, the most engaging thing I think to do in the open world is actually collecting the crafting materials, because the crafting system for weapons and armor in the game gives you tons of power over which bonuses are on your armor. You're not waiting for like plus constitution armor to drop for your tanks. If you want plus constitution armor for your tanks, you find a schematic that lets you apply stat boosts. You go collect the mineral that boosts constitution, and you build your armor. And so that's really cool. You're rarely wanting for the kind of gear you want your characters to wear, as long as you're willing to put in the legwork of going out, mining those minerals, collecting cloth and leather for your rogues and wizards, and then just building it yourself. The only limiter besides that is finding the schematics for more complex armors. But I thought that system was really cool. There was a point at which I just went down and I just kind of sat in the crafting room for a good half hour and made this like cool like electric sparking maul for Iron Bull and all that good stuff. And that stuff works really well. So I guess, that's kind of my like spiel about it, but what questions do you guys have about it?
So the main complaint a lot of people had with 2 was that they felt it kind of dumbed down a lot of the elements of 1. Does this kind of smart up the elements back to 1?
Dragon Age Inquisition is to Dragon Age 1 and 2 what Mass Effect 3 was to Mass Effect 1 and 2. Mass Effect 1 was really RPG-ish. Mass Effect 2 was really action gamey. Mass Effect 3 was more middle of the road. This follows that same dynamic. You will notice some more of that RPG depth coming back, but it also respects a very kinetic combat system. Whether you're playing a warrior, a rogue, or a mage, your hits have this like cool kind of pop to them. It feels when you're just doing basic damage, you'll be holding an auto attack button, but then you'll be interspersing other commands between that. So you can do like your payback strike if someone hits you. You can do like a quad damage hit after them if you trigger your payback strike at the right time. It's a lot of reactive stuff and doing combo fields and stuff where I want to freeze this guy and then I want to hit him really hard because frozen things take a little more damage. So it's cool like that. I would say if you want to play the combat in that real-timey kind of action gamey fashion, play an archer or a mage, because you'll just plain have a better grasp of what's going on in the battle. When you play a character who's fighting up close in melee, if you use the lock-on targeting, the camera just jerks kind of wildly because the enemies love to juke around you, so it's kind of disorienting. But even if you're not using the auto-targeting, you just can't tell what's going on, and you do need to know. If you're playing on any reasonable challenge level, you do need to know what's going on outside of your immediate reach. But yeah, it's kind of halfway between Dragon Age 1 and 2 as far as complexity and action gaminess.
So all right, so that sounds good because I liked 2. I think I was maybe one of the few people who actually didn't have a problem with 2. I liked 1 better, but I thought 2 was fine. So I definitely want to play this. It's number 1 on the list right now, I would say, of games that I don't have this year that I want to play.
I miss top-down BioWare stuff. I want to bring that back.
Ooh, as far you're not going to get BioWare stuff necessarily, but you should. Did you try Divinity: Original Sin earlier this year?
Never heard of it.
Okay,
that's exactly what you're looking for. You want that
you
tactical, hard, top-down, isometric RPG. Divinity: Original Sin is literally that game.
That is the game you're looking for. Yeah,
You will
Okay.
it's brutally hard. It beats the shit out of you, but super satisfying when you game the systems and get like, okay, this guy needs to use fire on this guy, so blah blah, blah, all that stuff. That's all there. You'll love that game.
And honestly,
Awesome.
you're not going to get that kind of old schooly game out of BioWare anymore, because at the expense that they're developing these games, they need that broader accessibility. I'll say, like, number one, even game mechanics wise, this game is very accessible. It's not too much. You've got some different ability trees for all your classes, but you're never overwhelmed by options. You can only bring 8 different moves into combat at a time. So you're never just sitting there with like everything you could possibly comprehend at your disposal. It's all you kind of make a build once you get over 8 moves, and then you take those into battle. And it's also, I would say, relatively accessible story-wise. If you played Dragon Age 1 or 2, you'll get tons of callbacks, but they're more bonuses. There's a little bit of like factional alphabet soup that goes on where it's kind of hard to keep track, like what's a Venatori and what's a Red Templar, and it's like there's tons of factions and nations. But you'll never be lost for like what the thrust of your mission is. That you'll understand where you're going and why you're doing it, even if you don't necessarily understand like the nuances of all the parties involved. But as a person who couldn't really get into Dragon Age 1 or 2, I found this game really hit the sweet spot for me. That I, even being on the review timeline where I like had to play it to get the review out, I still enjoyed playing it. It's a little taxing when you're busting it out like 10 plus hours a day to try to get it done. But I couldn't. I gave up on Dragon Age 1 and 2 after a few hours, and this I was pleasantly engaged in, even for the open worldy parts that are a little lackluster.
Yeah,
And
I
now-
don't think I ever finished 1.
Does it take your story in, or do you only use keep to make your story, or can you take in your previous saves?
There's no save file import,
So just mess with the keep and build a new type of save file.
Yeah. So those of you who aren't familiar with this, you can go to dragonagekeep.com, and there they've got this really cool tool called the Tapestry. The Tapestry shows every moral choice from Dragon Age 1 and 2 that they're tracking for Inquisition, and you can go through, click every single one of them, and set it to whatever decision you want to have the game to have made. And if you make a conflicting decision, it'll be like, if you want this decision, you must cancel previous decision. Like, the Tapestry is really well designed as far as kind of boiling it down to what impacts decisions have and making sure you don't have anything that's contradictory. I would say it's not for new players. I would say if you're coming to the series for the very first time, just sit down and play with the default world state that they supply. But if you are a huge Dragon Age 1 and 2 fan and you want to sit down with the Tapestry, crack open a wiki in another tab, and make... I mean, it is dozens of decisions. Like, it is probably over 3 dozen decisions. I didn't count. But it's a ton of stuff you can do. And if you want that exact world state that came out of your Dragon Age 1 and 2 playthroughs, you can get it.
Who's going to remember that, though? That's the thing. I feel like, I really like them, but I can't remember every decision that I made in 1 and 2.
Does it even affect the game?
Yeah.
Like, to what degree? I mean, are we talking like a couple of dialogue choices here and there, or fundamentally different?
It's dialogue choices and references. There are definitely going to be some fundamental differences because I met some characters who could... I met and had very important interactions in story missions with characters who could be dead depending on what you did in the previous game. So yeah, it will. Some choices will be bigger than others. Other choices will be like, oh, you can ask what happened to, so and so's spouse, and like if they didn't marry someone particular, or if whoever they chose to marry or whatever. That kind of stuff is just flavor and just respect for the canon you've created. But there are definitely choices that I'm like, wow, if this would have played out differently, this character couldn't possibly be in this scene. And who, if anyone, would be in this scene instead?
That's a really neat feature, I guess, for people who are really, really into the plot.
It's like Mass Effect, the same kind of deal. Like spoilers for Mass Effect warning. Rex. Whether or not he's in the future Mass Effects, like your decision affects that. So it's
It's
the
like
same
Mass
type of
Effect,
deal.
only it's a good game instead.
It's like they're like the same thing from the
No,
same people.
See, I'm a Mass Effect fan over a Dragon Age fan. I've played all 3 of the Mass Effect games. Love those. I wasn't as engaged with Dragon Age, but like I said, even with my lesser investment in Dragon Age, I was able to get into and enjoy this.
I might enjoy it then. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, I also like Dragon Age slightly better than Mass Effect, but they both have their strong points.
I think I just don't like RPGs with aliens in them. I just hate aliens. They always mess up a game, It's like
so you just
fantasy stuff is so well defined, and then you bring in aliens. It's like, what the fuck is that? That looks ridiculous. Get that out of here.
So you hate space. You're just not a spaceman.
I do. I hate space. We talked about this before, didn't we? With Civ 5. I just hate that.
I mean, I'm not a huge space guy either, so I can't judge you.
I feel like this is the most arbitrary complaint. I've seen fantasy stuff be exactly as outlandish as sci-fi stuff, or more so.
I think it's more just a matter of James just doesn't like space.
Yeah, it is. That's basically it.
Well, I guess we'll stay in the fantasy setting because Warlords of Draenor came out this week, and last week, and I played quite a chunk of that. It came out on Thursday, so the day after we did the show last week. So for those who don't know, that is the new expansion to the World of Warcraft, which is that MMO from Blizzard that makes tons of money and that everybody likes or hates, depending
Can
on
you
who you are.
explain the controversy here? Because I heard that like r/WoW got shut down by the moderator or something, and they had
Sure.
to elect a new one.
Well,
what's going on there?
So basically, what happened was before we actually get into the gameplay, then the server, when a new thing comes out in WoW, a lot of people who didn't play it for a while come back and they want to play again because hey, there's new content and stuff. So the servers were getting owned, and in WoW, when the servers are full, they put you in a queue. So you may have, let's say like 1,000 people in front of you. Your estimated wait time to get in is 20 minutes or something. And bigger servers, there was people who were getting, estimated wait time 7 hours. And while all this was happening, they were also getting massively DDoS'd. So the server capacity was way lower than it even would be with the popularity.
Well, what were they getting DDoS'd for?
Because people are assholes, and they're like, hey, the WoW servers are having trouble. Let's make it way
Yeah.
Oh,
harder
that
for
doesn't
them."
make sense, dude. Surely they were pissed off at something.
No.
No?
No,
I really think it's a bunch of jerks just really enjoying seeing WoW players get butthurt over being not able to log in. Like, I think they
I
literally
can see
just
that being
feed
enjoyable.
they feed on human tears, James.
Yeah. So then moving on to the Reddit thing.
Don't
what
diss
happened...
until you've tasted them.
So moving on to the Reddit thing, basically the subreddit was filled with just people making shit posts about I can't connect, blah blah blah. So the head mod basically just said, fuck it, post whatever you want. We're not gonna moderate your posts anymore. So if you want to just post garbage the whole time, be our guest. Post garbage. We won't stop you. And eventually they had to get new mods to take over because
Now, I had heard.
I thought they shut it down.
Yeah. So
did they end up shutting it down?
Well, no. Here's what I heard. What I heard is the moderator shut down our WoW in protest of the long login queues, and then
what he said was after a day it wasn't. The login queues weren't fixed, he would shut down the subreddit. But then I stopped paying attention over that day, and I don't know if he ever actually shut it down. So did he shut it down?
He did it, and then a whole bunch of people established a new WoW subreddit called Our Real WoW. And and so there's this huge protest of this dude was childish. He's getting rid of our place to be a community and vent outside, not under Blizzard's thumb. And so the controversy is they want this guy kicked off moderation because he took this childish action that shut down discussion when everybody wanted a place to go.
Well, it's back now. r/WoW is back. So
I don't understand what that would achieve. What would shutting down, like, that doesn't hurt WoW.
Right. It was a childish protest.
That's just stupid.
It's people talking about WoW and helping to. He said something about how I don't want to manage a subreddit that's promoting WoW when it's shitty.
Yeah.
You know, which I guess I can understand.
Okay, so we doxed him, right? Is that what we did? Collectively, we doxed
So
him.
here is his street address, and here are the names of his children.
Yeah.
Go to town.
Awesome.
So moving along from the controversy and the login problems, which seems to be a theme over gaming this week with Unity and Master Chief Collection and all that stuff, the actual gameplay in the new WoW expansion, which I won't go too heavily in because I know that that's kind of a thing that only certain people are going to care about and a lot of people aren't going to care about.
Well, no. I mean, give it a fair shake. Do it. Sell it to me.
There's really nothing I can sell to you if you don't
There's
already.
a new horse.
If you don't already like WoW, then there's nothing in this that's going to make you into a WoW player.
Flying pig.
The big thing in this one is the garrisons, which are kind of like your own little special town that is only yours, and you can kind of go in and you can have like a blacksmith come in there and an enchanter. So like if you don't have those professions, you can have a NPC of that profession in your little town and go in there and have it make you armor or whatever. And it also has. Do you guys ever play Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag?
Nope.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I played all the way through that one.
So you remember how Black Flag had the thing where you could send your pirates out to go do missions for you?
Yes.
Yeah, so they added that to WoW through the garrisons. So you can send your followers out to go do stuff for you, and they'll bring back stuff you can use to upgrade your garrison or money or just XP for them to make them stronger and stuff.
Oh my god, that's so meta. It's like WoW has things you can hire in game to do the farming for you now.
Kind of, but it doesn't.
That is incredible.
It doesn't replace any of the stuff that you have to do on your own. Like you're not going to get like crazy awesome gear from it. Well, actually, you do occasionally get an item drop from it, but it's very, very rare, and it's not going to replace the stuff you get from raiding or anything like that.
Can they gather ingredients and stuff like that? I don't know. It's been a
No,
while.
it's very specific what they get. It's mostly things that upgrade the buildings in your garrison. It all goes to keep the garrison growing.
So this garrison is like a physical place in the world.
Yes, but only you go to it. So everybody's garrison is on the same place in the map, and then when you walk up towards your garrison, it seamlessly pulls you into an instance of your garrison, and then when you walk out, it seamlessly pushes you back into your wide-range server. So
there's not like a row of garrisons or something?
It's one spot on the map that automatically instances you. But it is very seamless, I must say. It like you don't feel like you're walking into an instance. Like when you go into an actual instance, like a dungeon, there's like a swirly gate that you cross through and it loads. This you just walk and then all of a sudden you're in the garrison. You walk out, you're back in the world. Other players populate in and boom. So it actually works quite well.
That putting out followers to do things while you're offline mechanic. I really do like that mechanic. That's in Inquisition, and that's actually also in Perfect Worlds MMOs, Star Trek Online and Dungeons and Dragons Neverwinter, where you can before you log off, you can actually dispatch all your followers out. And actually with Neverwinter, you can actually do it via a mobile app, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, that's how it was with Assassin's Creed. You could do it. I used to sit there on my phone and just do that all the time because, I mean, what else am I doing on my phone? I'd be like sitting there going to the bathroom, blah, 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 send my dudes out. WoW does not have that. You got to be in the game, which makes sense. They want you to log in. They want you to log into the game. That's how they get there. We have X number of active players this month. They want to make sure everybody's logging in to get their garrison, which it has made me log into WoW a lot more than I used to. Even if because normally I'd be like, well, I only have 5 minutes. What can I do in 5 minutes? But now if I have 5 minutes, I'll actually go in WoW and send my dudes to go do something. So it is working.
So here's a question for you. I know the game, the new expansion comes with an instant boost to 90 to play the new content. Is there still, what have they done with the level 1 to 89 experience? Because I remember that being a huge kind of linear slog.
Well, the same thing they always do when a new expansion comes out is, they smush it.
Mm.
So like the XP require, like you end up going to far less zones now than you would originally because the amount of XP required is so much lower. So like going through the Pandaria content now, you used to have to pretty much go to every Pandaria zone to get to 90. Now you can pretty much get to 90 in like 2 or 3 zones because it's so much shorter. But other than
Oh
that, the
wow.
content is the same. It's just you don't have to do as much of it because they want you to try to get to 90 faster.
Because
And
my prior experience with WoW, one thing I didn't like about it is that so much of what you do in the end game is situated in like the last level band of zones that the rest of the world basically gets forgotten. Like I play Guild Wars 2. That's my MMO of choice right now. And one thing I love about that is any zone you walk into, your level is scaled back down to that content. So you're getting experience and drops for whatever level you are, regardless of which zone you adventure in. So every time, the more you advance in level in Guild Wars 2, the more zones are viable play area, not the fewer zones.
yeah, WoW is not like that. It is strictly you go to
Okay,
the
that
zone that makes
seems
sense for you, and that's it.
that seems like such a waste.
But the zones are very, very full of content. Like there's never, you're never wanting for things to do in the zone that is appropriate for you. Like there's plenty of shit going on there, and plenty of dungeons to run through and stuff like that. But yeah, there's no reason to ever go back to a previous zone unless you're like behind on like leveling your professions and you need to go gather ore or something,
Okay,
which is not
okay,
fun. That is a chore, but you got to do it.
yeah, yeah.
But anyway, so to kind of sum up, I really like this expansion so far. I'm level 94, so I've gone up 4 levels from the 90 cap, which means I've only been able to do 2 dungeons. The 2 dungeons did not seem like anything special. There was
Mhm.
no super fancy mechanics. There was one fight has a fairly cool heal test, so it's basically a mechanic designed to nuke down everybody in the party to make your healer work. Um,
Mm.
so that was cool. You don't see a ton of heal tests. There's usually DPS checks, but not a lot of heal checks. I play as a tank, so my job is generally pretty straightforward in every dungeon. You just keep aggro. But the dungeons seem alright. I'm curious to see what they are like later. If they get more advanced with the mechanics.
I'm not willing to come back to WoW, but I think they, as much as I just got upset at them for how they handled their previous zones, I do think they're doing some smart things with Pandaria was the one that added the pet battles.
Yep, pet battles. You get
And then
Pokemon in your WoW.
yeah, and then now you've got the garrison system, like you said. The fact that they're adding completely new gameplay subsystems, because no matter how interesting an MMORPG combat system is, there's only so far you can take it. Like you're going to be repeating activities, you're going to be finding your ability loops that you do to finish, the better part of battles. So I think they're doing some really smart things. But do you think, obviously, there's going to be the standard MMO expansion uptick while everybody consumes the new content. Do you think there's enough here to bring in new people in a more permanent way?
I think this is going to appeal to people who already like WoW, and
Okay.
I don't think that. I almost feel like Blizzard has resigned itself to just that is what it is now.
Finishing the arc of we had our big uptick, we peaked at Wrath, and
Yeah,
it's a
that's.
slow trickle down from
I
there.
mean, what are they gonna do? Like, if you don't like MMORPGs that much, like, they're not gonna
Yeah.
be able to do anything that would make it appeal to people like that, without completely making the people who love WoW hate it.
Oh my god!
No,
You know what they could do? They could add Oculus Rift support.
I don't see how that would work very well, but the other thing too was they did a big patch that changed a lot of the game that helped to make it a little more approachable because they removed like tons of abilities that they felt were redundant from the classes. So instead of like your character having 80 abilities, they have like 30, and they're all 30 like fairly relevant ones instead of 80 that were just like, why do I even have this? So
Yeah.
that's kind of cool. That does help to attract new players, but I think it's just like I said, it's like trying to get into like Dota or something. Like if you don't, you already know if you like it, and
Right.
that's
Well, and even then, like, no matter how much they would change, there's a perception with MMORPGs that they're a known quantity at a certain point. You know, no matter even if they did change a ton of stuff and it all changed for the better, there's the idea that I've played WoW. You know, I know whether or not I like it. I know whether I want to give them $15 to come back. And so it really comes down to like the social stuff for retention at that point. But like you were saying about the movesets changing, my girlfriend plays WoW and she was like, I'm missing so many of my tools. So there's definitely some adjusting. I'm seeing longtime players be like, you know, grumble, grumble, grumble. I miss my bajillion abilities, but that's, you know,
I liked it. I liked the squish. I didn't like the stat squish because my Death Knight, which is the class that is capable of getting the highest amount of HP, lost like 300,000 HP. But you know, whatever.
Right. You know, smaller numbers never feel good, but but it makes they've sense. Made all the ratios the same.
Right. So anyway, so that if you like WoW, you're gonna buy this. If you don't like WoW, you're not gonna buy this. And I'd say that pretty much sums it up.
Comments. Apparently, World of Warcraft VR is a thing.
Of course, it is a thing.
Already a thing.
VR is a thing.
It's a thing already.
If it exists, then you can use it in VR.
Yes.
So I have an item listed here that I'm going to skip. I was going to talk about the PlayStation TV today, but I think I'm actually going to save that for next week because we've already talked a lot about WoW and Dragon Age, and we haven't even got to the news yet.
When you own a PlayStation? You going to buy a PlayStation then, yeah?
No.
No, okay.
I'm going to review it without it, unfortunately. So, James has only been playing Call of Duty, apparently, this week because he's worthless and stupid. James, do you have anything new to add about Call of Duty?
No, I've only been playing Call of Duty, and we may need to rethink this whole gaming news podcast thing because, you know, once you're a daddy who's also a lead developer and product reviews editor, you know, shit don't ever slow down for a second.
You'll be fine.
Which is,
you'll figure.
That's why I want to move out to the country. Then I've got an excuse. My internet's broken. I won't be able to do anything.
But you're a wolf, so you should be able to handle this.
Yeah.
You
dumb
this
wolf.
is true. But we do have I did add one piece of news this month. Shall I do that one first?
Yes. So why don't you tell us about this guy who has a ridiculous plan of what he wants to do with virtual reality?
Obviously, he's an idiot artist, and he thought it would be a good idea to spend 1 month wearing the Oculus Rift and not playing cool games or anything. He's actually going to be
unsanitary.
He's gonna. Oh, it gets better. He's going to be connected to another person's body, another person's eyes. So he's going to see absolutely everything that they do, including taking a whiz. And he's only going to have, like, for 1 hour a day, he'll be observed by a psychologist to see that he's not going crazy or anything. And the whole purpose, apparently, is to, like, answer the age-old question of nature versus nurture. Which at first I was like, how does that answer that? But spending a month living someone else's life could profoundly affect your worldview, right?
Mm.
Like, will he slowly start to believe he genuinely is the other person? And it gets better, right? Taking immersion to the extreme, he'll only be allowed to piss at the same time as the other guy. He'll only be allowed to shower at the same time. This is proper force feedback here. And he'll only be allowed to eat the same things.
What if he has to poop? And it's like an
he can only do it at the same time.
But what if it's like an emergency? Like, oh my god, I'm going to mess my pants.
Not allowed. Because he'll only be eating the same things, so presumably he will only have the same bowel movements in theory. But suffice to say, right, if you are a heterosexual male living with your partner, you can apply now to be his avatar, where you will wear his glasses and become his eyes, right? And potentially, you can really fuck with this guy's head, I think, by doing all manner of really screwed up shit. So you should totally go for it.
Wow.
Why don't you go for it?
Because I do far too much fuck. I mean, I don't want to seriously. This guy would kill himself, you know.
Well, this guy also can't properly simulate being a wolf, so that's right out.
Yeah, that disqualifies me right there, being the whole wolf that I am.
If I had to spend a minute with James, I would want to.
That's generally the effect I have on people.
Yeah, which is fair. It's the effect that people should have to you.
Nah.
So we talked earlier about broken things. Assassin's Creed Unity came out last week, and that game was pretty messed up. Had a lot of problems. Unfortunately, we were unable to acquire a review copy for that game due to reasons. And
But we're better off for it.
yes,
Yeah,
apparently
probably a
because we
good
would have
thing.
just had to shit on it in the review.
And then we wouldn't have got any more review codes ever.
Yeah, I know. Our first Ubisoft game, and we shit on it. That would have been great. Anyway, so Forbes has decided. You may have heard of Forbes. They're a pretty big publication on stuff. They've decided that Ubisoft is the new EA, which basically means they are, piece of shit scumbags. EA was twice voted the worst company in America. And they've decided that, you know what, they're the new EA, so they are now the worst company.
I can get behind that decision.
But the thing
I
is,
imagine EA is quite pleased about this.
I don't
kind of
know.
Awesome, second worst.
I'm sure that was a title that they were proud of. But the thing is, Ubisoft, within such a short time period, also released Far Cry 4, which, by all accounts, is a perfectly competent game. It's not amazing, and it seems to do a lot of the same stuff as Far Cry 3, but it seems to do that same stuff well, and it seems to be completely fine. So it's not like Ubisoft is complete shit.
Nothing outweighs the implementation of Uplay.
I mean,
There's-
EA's got Origin.
Origin works now. It's not, nobody likes signing into yet another service to get to their games, but Origin at least works. Uplay is regularly a thing that prevents me from playing Ubisoft video games.
I've never had a problem on console with Uplay.
On PC, it's a mess.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I don't play Ubi games on PC because generally Ubi games on PC are poop.
Yeah.
They do terrible port jobs. Not just the Uplay, though. Just the actual game itself usually runs like absolute garbage.
Mm.
So I generally just avoid anything Ubisoft on PC because you need to have. I think it was Total Biscuit was saying he just got two. Or no, it was Total Biscuit or Jesse Cox. One of the guys from the Co-optional podcast was saying that they just got. I think it's 970s, NVIDIA 970 graphics cards, SLI, two of them, and it barely runs Unity on PC.
Well, then it's capped somehow, isn't it? That's the problem.
Yeah, I guess it's. He said he thinks it's just so poorly optimized that it's requiring that much power to run it and not even run it at like 60.
Well, you heard about the embargo fiasco with that, right?
Yeah, we touched on briefly last week.
Okay.
The embargo was noon on release day.
Yeah, 2 to 3 hours for people to buy it uninformed. That's all they need.
Yeah. So, speaking of that, Ubisoft they responded to that whole claim and all the problems with they're going to start letting people beta test their games, letting users beta test the games. And they are going to change their policy on embargoes and stuff. So hopefully they actually do all of these things because that is just ridiculous. And I know Kotaku said they will not accept games with release day embargoes anymore. It's if the game is not embargoed at least midnight or whatever the night it's going to come out, they just won't even review it. So. They can do that, I guess. Kotaku has the power to do that. Like a smaller website really can't. They're kind of tied by their system. Like they can't afford to not have the next big Ubisoft game review, so they have to suck it up. But Kotaku's always willing to ruffle feathers too. They don't have a problem, causing a ruckus, which I respect them for. I don't really read Kotaku, but I respect their non-fear.
A lot of people are down on Kotaku. I think they have interesting articles. I read a lot of Kotaku. I don't know. Obviously there's the big journalistic ethics fiasco going on right now. But man, I read a fair amount of Kotaku because I am entertained by their writing. Full stop.
Are they pro Gamergate or anti Gamergate? I can never keep track of who likes what.
That would require a complex discussion about what Gamergate actually is. And
Right.
I don't care enough.
Well,
I don't want to get into
the part that confused me was the main Gamergate subreddit is Kotaku in action. So I didn't understand. Is that a dig at Kotaku or like a compliment at Kotaku?
I think I think Kotaku is on the
shit list?
not on Gamergate's good side, whatever
Good, all right.
Gamergate might be.
Well, that makes me happy then, I guess. I don't know, whatever. Fuck all those people. Anyway, so hopefully Ubisoft, they get their shit together and, I mean, because like I said, Far Cry 4, by all accounts, is a perfectly fine game. It's just, and actually so is Rogue, the Xbox 360 one. It's just, I mean, it's basically just a direct, like a super direct sequel to AC4, but like it's well put together. It's not a buggy piece of shit. Like, so they are capable. It's just, it seems like they bit off more than they could chew with Unity, maybe.
Well, and the tech behind Rogue is the stuff they've been refining for like 6 Assassin's Creed games at this point. So it's really, it may be more of the systems that you've already seen before, but those are polished to a fine shine,
Yep. Yeah, I mean, either way, I guess that applies to Assassin's Creed 2, to Far Cry. That's kind of, it's very much like Far Cry 3. It has all the same systems. So I guess it just says Ubisoft is good at iterating and not good at actually making something new. That, I don't know. I guess that's the takeaway.
Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be hiccups anytime there's a transition to new hardware and people attempting to take advantage of that hardware. But it's not the fact that Assassin's Creed Unity had trouble. It's the fact that it was released in a utterly bungled state and then seemingly like hidden from the public until the last minute so that people would like that's the ill will around Ubisoft is like the degree to which we all feel deceived by the way they behaved.
Yeah, it's like they just didn't want people to. They didn't want people to cancel their pre-orders. They're like, we can at least lock up the pre-orders, and if word doesn't get out that it's broken, they'll keep the pre-orders. So
yeah, the shiftiest business practice,
Yeah, James, you're an expert in shifty business practices. What do you think about all this stuff?
Having never played Assassin's Creed, I really couldn't comment. I hate.
You've never played any of the Assassin's Creeds? Like, never even tried them?
No, I tried the first one. I just thought this is bullshit.
You never tried the second one though?
No,
because that's where the formula really changed. Yeah, this first one is a very formulaic, kind of repetitive game.
I think it's a theming thing again for me. The whole religious overtones to it don't really appeal.
It's basically science fiction at this point. Like it is nowhere near any actual religious experiences, I promise.
Yeah, I would say if you wanted to try one, James, I think 4 is the one. If you ever I kind of want to try one of these because at the very least, if you don't like all the Assassin's Creed bullshit, 4 is just a fantastic pirate game.
Yeah, 4 is the one where they were like, what if we stop taking ourselves seriously entirely and just let you be a badass pirate?
Well, like, people like pirates, right? Yeah. Let's just be a fucking pirate. You don't
sorry,
like
guys.
pirate?
I don't like pirates.
What is wrong with this guy, Rob? Where did we get this guy?
Across the Atlantic. That's from where we got this guy.
I don't even understand why we let him be on the show.
I don't see what's so great about pirates.
I bet you like tea more than coffee too.
I can't stand tea. I'm such a terrible British guy.
Redemptive properties.
Yeah, that's strange for a British man to not like the tea. I feel like my whole worldview is...
I'm not British though, realistically, am I? I mean, I spent most of my adult life in Japan. I would rather drink cold green tea than the shit they make here.
I like green tea, but not cold.
We found our place where we intersect, James. Japanophilia.
Oh, yeah, Rob, you went on a big trip fairly recently, didn't you? Like a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
I was in Japan for a wedding and then in Singapore to meet my girlfriend. So
now,
where were you at? Tokyo.
I was in Hokkaido. Like the far boonies of Hokkaido, like the northeast corner.
Wow, that's like as un-Japanese as you can get, really. It's kind of out there.
It's a weird place. It's like I never knew that Japan had like a kind of Native American style
Yeah,
indigenous
they have.
people.
Yeah, you met them.
Yeah. We went to a resort. There was this like there's like all these wood carvings and totem poles. And I'm like, this looks like some real Native American stuff, and it's
Yeah.
totally like indigenous Japanese Ainu people. My mind was blown.
Did anything awesome video gamey related happen while you were in Japan? Any like go to Akihabara or anything like that?
No. I mean, as far as it was pretty much go there, like blast out to Hokkaido, and then like off to Singapore really quick. I mean, as far as video gaming stuff was, I played a lot of. If you guys have a Vita and you want to get your hands on a really solid game, Ys Memories of Celceta. So Ys is spelled Y-S, and Memories of Celceta is the Ys Vita game. If you want like a real fast-paced, bombastic action RPG that has a really good tempo to the combat, get your hands on that one.
I've never heard of this game, but I shall check it
What
out.
was going on in Singapore? Why didn't you should have gone around Japan, man? There's so much.
Singapore's where my girlfriend lives. So we met over Twitch, and we started a relationship entirely long distance, and so I actually met her in person for the first time by going to Singapore after this wedding. So yeah,
How was that?
she's coming to the U.S. in like 10 days. She's actually, if you want to find her here on Twitch, her screen name is Syzenna, Syzenna. She streams once in a while.
I think you should bring her on the show.
I think she might enjoy that sometime, except for the fact where we're recording at like midnight, 1 a.m. her time. Oh, cool! You found some video of Ys Memories of Celceta.
You're not supposed to talk about it. You're supposed to just let it happen. It's like, you're ruining like my professionalism and my. Oh no, everything went black. See what you did? You talked about it, and the fucking YouTube video went black.
Don't play the stream. You're using everyone's bandwidth. That's why people are leaving. They can't watch because you're watching.
Okay. Just cut that out. Just cut that out in the audio version, and they'll never know.
Yeah. Way to break the illusion.
Ys is a long-running series in Japan, and you can actually get some of the Ys games on Steam. Not Memories of Celceta, because that's a Vita exclusive. But yeah, look up. I think Ys 7 is probably the best one on Steam. And they're just like, imagine Legend of Zelda, except instead of emphasis equally on combat and puzzle solving, it's super cool, fast-paced combat. And it's really cool. You'll be, you can pull off finishing strikes for like extra experience bonuses and stuff. The story's pretty solid. The writing's really good. It's a cool series, and it doesn't have as much traction in the West, but you should play an Ys game. It'll be a good way to fill out your video gaming experience and see something you haven't seen before.
Is it as good as Persona 4?
It feeds a different need than Persona 4. I would say it's really good. I mean, it's an exceptionally good game. But it's definitely a different. It is an action RPG.
Yeah,
is. The emphasis is really on the action. Is James going to talk about Call of Duty, or can I just keep going on about cool stuff I played lately?
I don't have anything more to say.
You should have added more stuff.
Playing it.
I went to the news. You should have added more stuff to the outline. I sent you that link for you to add games you've been playing, and you didn't add anything. So I figured you just wanted to talk about Dragon Age.
Assuming I become more regular on the show, I will be more careful about that in the future. I need to get into this whole podcasting thing.
God, I hate this guy.
Okay, hold on. No, just start YouTube searching things for the anyway.
Yeah. Say the word of say the game you're playing, and then I will stealthily search on YouTube for it.
Okay, I'm making this so smooth. Aren't you glad I'm here?
Yes, totally.
Yes.
Fantasy
We would have literally nothing to talk about otherwise.
Fantasy Life on 3DS. I got that game earlier this month, and I have easily logged over 60 hours on it across like 3 characters. If you like the stuff that MMORPGs do, but don't like the ways that MMORPGs have to be balanced so that everybody can use those systems without things getting broken, you need to play Fantasy Life. Like, it's my favorite 3DS game of the year, and it's definitely on the top list for my favorite games of the year. It is like cool stuff to do the game. It's an action RPG. The combat is relatively simplistic, but that's because the game, unlike many action RPGs, pays pretty much equal attention to combat, gathering, and crafting. So gathering is this really cool mini game where you hunt down mineral nodes, but then you have to like circle them as you're mining them or chopping them down to find like a sweet spot. And if you like mine them really well, you get extra resources. Crafting is a little mini game, and if you play it well, your item can be like higher quality than the version of it you could buy in the NPC shops. And you can actually, if you want to make a ton of money, you can actually make items better than the NPC shops and sell them back and just make as much money as you want. Like, if you just want to be a crafter salesman in the game, you can. The story for the game is a little lackluster. It's well written and it's cute and heartwarming, but there's just too much text. It is
But you can actually see this text scrolling by on the screen as we're watching this YouTube video of just lots of text.
Yeah, and the problem is it can't do any exposition without having like half a dozen to a dozen goofy puns about it. Like, everybody is constantly making jokes and breaking the fourth wall, and it's like, get to the point, I want to get back to adventuring. Like, if they cut out about half of the wisecracking, the story would be magnificent. But as it stands, there's too much of it. I literally ended up holding X to like fast advance the text in the story after the first third of it, because I was like, I want to get back to doing what this game does so well, which is huge sandbox adventuring, and doing whatever you want. You know, go gather materials, go craft, go complete tests. There's 12 different jobs to pick from. You can bounce back and forth between them freely, and every one of them has unique tasks to complete to get promotions in that job, which get you new moves, new things to craft. I cannot say enough good things about this game. It has consumed my life. It has kept me up late. If you have a 3DS and you want something to do on a long trip, get Fantasy Life. I cannot say enough good things about this game.
All right. I might have to check that out if I ever use my 3DS for something else besides Smash Brothers.
Or if you ever go anywhere.
I don't go anywhere. Well, actually, I'm supposed to go on a trip in February, so maybe I will use it then.
Oh, it will. I mean, it is like fun advancement. The game, you know, like you're constantly accomplishing something.
Is this a first-party Nintendo game or who?
This was made by Level 5, which is the developer. They typically develop the they did Dark Cloud. They did Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch. I think they do the Dragon Quest games at this point. But it's published by Square Enix in Japan, but it's published by Nintendo in the US.
Okay, so it's first-party published, not first-party developed.
Correct. Yeah, it's Level 5, and if you're familiar with them, you know they have a long track record in doing RPGs and stuff. Previously, they've typically been a miss for me, but this one is really incredible. I highly recommend the DLC because it adds an end game to the game. Like, you can complete the game and you can get to like level 50 cap without the DLC. But if you want like a cool kind of MMORPG style raidy, grindy endgame, and you can play this multiplayer with up to 2 other players if you want to make a big team for this endgame stuff, or just any of the other content in the game. It raises the level cap from 50 to 200, and gives you this 3-wing super dungeon to explore. In addition to a little more story content and new things to craft and mine and kill.
So I can go fight the Wraith King?
Kind of. I mean,
fight the Lich King, I mean.
Yeah, it's a really hard super dungeon, and you can level into completing it kind of the slow way, or you can bring 2 friends along if you have some friends, and you can take it on as a team, and that will definitely speed things up. But yeah, the DLC adds so much to that game. It's a $9 chunk of DLC, so it's a little high as far as like handheld game DLC goes, but totally worth it. I mean, if you fall in love with it like I did, that will give you like another, it'll expand the game basically threefold, like literally from 50 level cap to 200 level cap. and plenty of stuff to do along the way.
Nice. James, you gonna buy this game? You have a 3DS?
No, I got rid of my DS years ago.
Man, you gotta get it. DS has so many good. Well, actually, I guess not for you though, because you're like you hate Nintendo and you're a bad person.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
Oh,
I only bought it because the hack came out where you could download ROMs and put them on your thingy.
oh, speaking of that, I actually heard yesterday that
Yes, there's
a
a
homebrew
3DS
for
hack.
3DS,
Yeah.
yeah, is coming on the 22nd, but it
It
does
requires
not.
this really old game, which is now sold out.
Yep, and it does not. But it does not support backups, quote unquote. So it's for actual homebrew, homemade games. Like somebody made.
But it will at some point.
At some point, yeah, it probably will. But somebody made like a 3DS Minecraft or something like mod. You can. Play
I'm surprised it hasn't been done already. I thought they were.
Nintendo must have actually figured out some decent protection for it or something, which seems very.
Yeah, or the big kids grew up and now they don't care anymore.
I don't think so. If there's something that could be hacked, the hackers will hack it. They do it for fun. They just like to do it.
the big kids grew up.
So,
When did you become the Grinch?
so moving on from a game that Rob really, really likes, we're going to move on to a game that I want to like, but I don't know if I like it yet. And that is Goat MMO Simulator. Have you guys heard about this nonsense?
I heard about that.
So
Is this a real thing?
Goat Simulator, the game that you may know and love, which I know and love,
It's a free update, right?
yes, is now becoming Goat MMO Simulator. Now, the way that name is, the way that the name is written is critical to understanding what it is. This is not Goat Simulator, the MMO. This is a Goat MMO Simulator. So the MMO is also simulated. So
it's not actually an MMO.
right. It is not actually an MMO. It appears, at least that's what it appears from watching videos of people play it.
Oh my
It appears
God.
as though the other characters are just NPCs because they're just saying random things in the chat. And I watched PewDiePie's Let's Play video of this, and he was trying to communicate, and no one was actually responding. So it appears as though it's just it's simulating the MMO-ness of it. That's what it appeared. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not 100% on that, but that is what it appears like. I have Goat Simulator and will be downloading the patch when it comes, and I'm very excited about it. There's dozens of quests, apparently, and it just looks like freaking nonsense. It comes out on tomorrow, the patch. So,
Wild, man.
the Goats, you got to hand it to the Coffee Stain Studios, the people behind Goat Simulator. They keep up on that piece of shit game that they happen to go viral with.
Keep milking that.
Yeah,
dead
but they're doing
sheep.
it. They're doing it well. Oh, and I do like the post I saw from them on Reddit where they said we have a level cap of 101, level higher than you know who. Because the WoW level cap was just increased to 100. So, I mean, if you want more Goat Simulator, they have classes and stuff. The classes are all like mage, rogue, and then as you can see on the video, one of the classes is microwave. And you're just a microwave with legs that one of your abilities is you shoot pizzas out of your microwave. It's a ridiculous looking thing, but Goat Simulator.
I don't know if I'll buy this, but I'm really glad it exists.
I am super happy that I purchased my copy of Goat Simulator. I could never go back to not owning a copy of Goat Simulator. It's one of those things that I just launch for like 5 minutes when I need a laugh, and I just, feel happy after looking at the ridiculousness of Goat Simulator. So that's Goat Simulator. We got to move on to more depressing news, or maybe happy news in the video game industry. Depends on how you look at it. Halo the Master Chief Collection, which is that big giant thing that came out that has Halo 1 through 4 all in one game for $60 or 50, whatever. I assume it was $60. It sounded like a fantastic value. Polygon reviewed it as a 9.5 originally because, I mean, it has a ton of content all redone to be pretty with the next generation stuff, and it sounded great. They actually went back and redid the review and dropped it to an 8 because the internet was so broken and you couldn't even find a match in the game. So I think that's an interesting precedent that they went back and adjusted their review score, because that's not something you see very often. They kind of just, if the review is the review is what the review is, and that's it. But because they review a pre-release copy and everything works, then when they go back and try to play it on release day, nothing works. I think that's good that they went back and kind of tweaked their score. Although if the multiplayer is completely broken, an 8 doesn't necessarily seem low enough.
Wait, does it have co-op mode?
For the games that originally had. So like I think 4 and 3 had co-op. I don't think did 2.
Oh, so it's not one entire new game. It's not one combination game. It's like you choose on a menu. I want to play Halo 1 or Halo 4.
For the single player stuff, yeah. When you go to the multiplayer, there's like tons of different playlists. So you can pick like Team Slayer, and it will just throw you into a Team Slayer playlist of all 4 Halos. Or you could pick, I want Team Slayer Halo 2, and it will throw you into a Team Slayer playlist of all Halo 2 Team Slayer, you know? But the physics and stuff are retained from the original Halos. So, like, from what I understand, it's kind of jarring when you go from, quickly jump from a Team Slayer Halo 4 to a Team Slayer Halo 2, because Halo 4 had some of the Call of Duty stuff in it with, like, kits and loadouts, but 2 doesn't have that, so... But unfortunately, no one can test that because the multiplayer is like broken and you can't find a match anyway. So,
I think I'm really in favor of that whole like changing the review score after the fact if something's a hot mess, because the fact of the matter is reviews are a very time sensitive tool. Like the reason we try to get them out near launch day is because you need to know whether to buy it now. And there are games that dramatically improve long after their release, but you need to know if you're going to have a miserable time if you get it today. Actually, the further we go out from a game's release, the less useful reviews become if they're static.
Does that mean they didn't review the multiplayer in the first place? Then they only.
I think they reviewed it in a closed reviewer kind of environment.
Yeah, they had one
probably.
of those events
okay.
where they had everybody come to Microsoft and they put like 100 journalists in a room and they played. So mechanically, it all worked, but they were on a LAN, so...
Right.
And Microsoft obviously gave them all the assurances that, well, we're Microsoft, we have the servers in place to make everything work when the game launches, blah, 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 blah.
Does this mean if they do get the servers fixed out, they'll go back and change it again and put it back to the original 9.5?
It does. In the text, it says... let's see where we say there's no sugarcoating it. Multiplayer is broken. Users have reported wait time to access every playlist. Polygon editors have had similar difficulties. Today they were unable to access a single match, encountering various error messages and endless queues. The Master Chief Collection's campaign elements appear to be functional, so players aren't totally locked out of the experience the game is offering. But until 343 manages to make its multiplayer functional, our recommendation of the MCC has been considerably more qualified. So the fact that it says
8 is still pretty high.
That's what I mean. 8 seems high for a game that's broken.
Yeah, if you're going to say it's broken, put it down to a 6 and say, well, yeah, then we'll put it back up to an 8 maybe.
Because for me personally, if I was actually considering getting this game, I have zero interest in the Halo single player. I would be buying this 100% for the multiplayer. So for me, this game would be a 0 because I can't play it at all.
Well, imagine if a bunch of outlets did this thing that Polygon is doing. You could kind of do Metacritic extortion on developers because everyone is so fixated on what their Metacritic average is that if you could get a bunch of really, important, games journalism outlets to be lowering scores on the basis of post-release performance, you could actually extort developers into fixing the game more quickly because nobody wants their lousy Metacritic average.
I don't think it's extortion then. I think it's just fix your shit.
Yeah.
That's how it should be. Yeah.
See, Giant Bomb, they didn't even bother to review it. They just said the game's broken, fuck it. They put up a quick look showing how broken it was, and then they just moved on to other games. So
yeah, there's plenty. We could have a discussion for a whole nother hour on the usefulness of numerical scores and reviews, but that's neither here nor there. Changing the number is an interesting thing to do.
I mean, and they did add that blurb of text, so it wasn't just
Yeah.
the number. It's really sad though in this particular case because that game was an amazing value for what you got. 4 full Halo games with redone, graphics and stuff, all the multiplayer for the price of one game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty freaking solid. It's too bad they just completely botched it.
Well, yeah, and it's gonna get fixed eventually. But the fact of the matter is, nothing that's particularly big gets out to the consumer in its final state now, which makes reviewing and giving a concrete, recommendation or score pretty tough. Remember
Unless
when
we're
games
talking about a
didn't
game like
patch?
Dragon Age with
Yeah.
like single player focused game like that, pretty much that is what you played a week before it came out is the same
But wait,
as what it was.
Let's bear in mind that companies can also offer day one updates now, and updates every single day, in fact, when
Yeah.
before it was a case of you burn it to a CD, that's it, you're done. Without
Right.
that internet connectivity, you were screwed. What you put out was the final product.
But
You
developers
couldn't
rely
fix
on
things.
that patch now. Like they don't even bother to finish it. What's on the disc? They're like, we'll just patch it day one.
Yeah.
But
We need to
there
hit a
are
release
people who
date
don't
for
have
holidays.
internet.
Mhm.
So like, if you don't have internet and you go there, what game? There's a game that came out recently that they were talking about this. They were one of the websites decided to go play it with. I wish I could remember the game, but they decided to go play it without the day one patch, and it was like a hot mess. The frame rate
That was
like
the Evil Within.
Yeah, right. So the Evil Within, the frame rate was like 20 frames a second. There was like textures missing and stuff. Like the game was a hot mess without that patch. So if you don't have internet, that's what you're buying is like, like that sucks.
Does anyone not have internet at this point?
I mean,
Seriously?
I feel like in the US the percent was like isn't it like 10 or something? 10% doesn't have internet?
Okay, they shouldn't have video games either. They should just run their farm or whatever
I mean,
it is they're doing.
chances are they probably don't. They probably would not be buying an Xbox One if they don't have internet. But what if they do?
Right.
But what
Yeah.
if they do?
Yeah. I mean, the fact of the matter, like, here's the bottom line, at least as far as I see it, is it all comes back to consumer decision making. You have the power to wait for reviews. You have the power to choose not to pre-order. And you have the power to wait until the game's ready before you actually spend money on it. And if you speak with your wallet and if you resist the hype, show some self-control, take deep breaths, you can send a message, or at least at the very least, you may not be able to change the industry, but you can personally avoid bad experiences. Figure out who the trusted developers are, give them your money so that they can grow. Speak with your wallet.
I only pre-order because otherwise I'd forget to buy a game.
But now, what does that say though about the game? Like, what does that say about how much you were really excited about the game or needed to play the game? I mean, unless you're covering it, which is another thing, or unless you're just trying to be broadly informed. But if you could totally forget the game if you didn't get it the day it launched, what does that say about that game?
It says I don't really read much gaming press, actually, to be honest.
There's like I'm kind of going full circle on my Steam library right now, where I'm like knocking things off my wish list and really analyzing how much time I have to play video games relative to how ferociously I chase down games on sale on Steam. How much stuff have you bought on Steam that you've never installed? Like both of you.
Over 50%.
Yeah, I think the average was like 36 or 38%. Somebody ran some numbers and did a survey, and like the average Steam user has not even installed over a third of the games they've purchased.
Mm.
It's insane.
I just don't have time for it nowadays.
Yeah, and yet we're so concerned about, oh man, that's a good deal. I might play that someday. Like if I had to take a hard look at my Steam wish list and say, I wouldn't really play that. I wouldn't really play that either. Like I was just knocking things off left and right. There's only 3 more games that I'm paying attention to this year as far as things that have not come out yet. The new Pokemon game, Persona Q, which is the Persona 3 and 4 crossover. It's a triple crossover of Atlas games. Persona 3, Persona 4, and Etrian Odyssey.
Atlas is weird.
Atlas is real weird, and man, they have figured out Persona's good, and they are milking it for all they're worth.
I love Persona.
And then the crew. I'm paying attention to the crew. That looks really good.
What's the crew? That sounds familiar.
That's that online racing game where you've got the entire United States and you're kind of a renegade. You're like an undercover cop or something, and you're taking down crime rings in multiplayer.
Racing game, huh?
But it's like it's all open worldy, and you can like race down the country roads and go from city to city, and they've got this big emulated United States map. I don't know. It looks promising. I'm not going to buy it day one because that seems like it could be really botched, depending on how they execute. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I was considering buying GTA 5 again on the Xbox One, but realistically, am I going to play through it again? I don't think I would.
Right. I'm like I said, I'm taking a hard look at how I buy games and trying to only buy stuff that I'm like really, really stoked about at this point. Like Fantasy Life.
Well, you know what you shouldn't buy?
Segway.
You should not buy Sonic Boom.
Indeed.
I think that was a given.
As you might you know what? The marketing on the initial trailers, that Sonic was talking about how this is going to be like the new franchise of Sonic, and if they have TV shows coming and all this stuff. Man, that game is a piece of poop. Sonic Boom. It's got just every website, every review score is just pooping on it. So I
wait, what? It's on the Wii U? Shouldn't that be a dead giveaway that it's going to be poop?
Look, guys, I just want to show you something though. I know this is an audio podcast also, but if you look at Knuckles, what the fuck is going on with this thing? Why does he look so weird?
He looks like a sausage with arms.
Yeah, what the fuck is that thing? What is wrong with this guy? Like Sonic and Tails and the pink lady look relatively normal, but Knuckles is like some steroid looking. He just looks.
Well, they had to.
I don't like him.
They had to. Well, are you familiar with the 5-man band trope? You ever spend time on TV Tropes Wiki?
I've heard of this trope. I'm not super familiar with it, but I've heard of it.
Explain.
Okay, the 5-man band trope is the typical Power Rangers composition. You see it in all kinds of programming, both children and adult programming. It's the leader, the Lancer, who is the contrast to the leader's attitude, the smart guy, the tough guy, and the chick. You've got the leader, the tough guy, the smart guy, and the chick. And the Lancer is basically Shadow. Like he's, the counterpart to the hero who's not, he's the anti-hero to Sonic's heroism. All they did was take all their character designs and run them through the 5-man band trope. So, they have, further accentuated Tails' engineering angle because he flew a plane once. They have they have just taken Knuckles' reckless, they have taken Knuckles' punching nature and exacerbated that out to just, steroid-induced muscularity. Amy, of course, is just always this. That is what that is. That's why all those character redesigns happened, to make these characters 5-man band, identifiable. It's a very punchy, very easy to grasp trope. And when you look at that party, you see it.
Yep, and the beginning of the game, which you're kind of seeing here, is basically looks like they just threw Temple Run into Sonic. I don't understand. Why can't Sega just make a good Sonic game again? Why? Why can't they? I don't understand. Just do it, Sega. Look at this. This is basically Temple Run. But
aren't the roots of Sonic, though, basically an endless runner? It was all about go fast,
but this
jumps.
Is literally Temple Run.
It was based on the mechanic. It never really had a strong franchise, did it? It was.
I mean, the first couple Sonic games were. I mean, the first few were side-scrolling platformers that were just fast.
Right, and that doesn't work anymore. So what do you do with Sonic? Well, nothing, because he's not much else.
Yeah, then just don't do anything with him. Why can't Sega do all this stuff?
Conclusion, yeah.
Look at Knuckles, though. What is that guy? Stop being what you are. I hate you. That's not what Knuckles looks like. He's just
kill yourself, Knuckles.
He's just seriously, Knuckles. Just kill yourself. The world would be a better place without you, as it would be a better place without Sonic Boom. I don't know if we need to really talk about this last story. I threw it on here, but I feel like we have enough stories, and I don't really want to promote somebody, which is basically what this story is, so I'm going to delete it. Bye, Jim Sterling. I love you. Your shows are great, but you're not really that important. So I think that about puts the wrap on this episode. We talked about Sonic's bullshit. We talked about mostly negative things, but we did talk about games that we like. And that's the important thing, is that we like games, because that's why we're all here, right? For our love of games. And James is here just to be a stupid wolf.
Next week, James has played Call of Duty again.
You really need to play some games, son.
Oh yeah, I tell you what, I'll do my super hardest to try and play like every VR porn demo out there and do the top 5.
Why don't you play some strategy games? That's what you're supposed to like.
Yeah, well, I don't really know any good ones nowadays.
What about that one that's like Civ? That's better
Reboot
than
of
Civ?
Red Alert. Bring back that.
None of you on the audio podcast can see this, but I am flailing wildly. James Bruce, you must play Endless Legend.
Oh, I did. I got it. I got it on your recommendation. That was awesome.
Well, okay, sweet. And they're releasing free updates for it. They've got a free update coming out very soon.
Well, James, I want you to play some more of that, and I want you to come back next week and tell us about it.
Endless Legend was like the only reason I would not bother to check out Civ 5 now, because that itch is being scratched by Endless Legend, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Endless Legend. And they published like this. If you go to, those of you in the audience, go search for Endless Legend on YouTube and find their YouTube channel. They posted a really cool video recently on the complexities of building like grand strategy game AI, how the strategy AI works in Endless Legend, and then what they're doing to improve it over the next couple months, because they know their AI is not where it needs to be.
It doesn't work that well, yeah.
Right, but the video that they have on there, their video about AI in the game, takes the really complicated concept of video game AI and puts it in layman's terms that you'll get and appreciate. Like it's really cool when the dude explains it. It's really cool and totally comprehensible how complicated this process is.
I think I stopped playing it a couple of weeks ago just because I got to one of the points in the mission where it's like, you have to go and destroy this city, and I had God knows no idea where the city was. And that's it, that's the mission. Go destroy someone's city. It's like, why the hell am I'm not doing that. I don't even know where it is.
You know that part's totally optional, though, right? You can win in a number of different ways. You don't have to complete the main quest.
Yeah, but I wanted to go through the quest, because I love the fact that it's got a storyline like that and a quest thing. I just don't like that particular mission, which is stupid.
Right. Well, it's supposed to be, I mean, keeping in mind that if you complete the entire quest arc for any faction, that's a victory state. They have to make it, like that's one of the victories.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, if you complete your entire main quest, you win.
Huh.
So that's why they made the main quest really, really tough. But I love how that main quest feature in Endless Legend interacts with the map state in unexpected ways. You know, it can tell you need to search a ruin in region X, and that could be taken by another player or completely empty or have hostile neutral factions in it. That's super cool, and that makes every game feel real different.
I just can't go back to Civ now with its like stacked units and poor strategy of attacking people. Like, I want to have that little hex grid back now.
Well, now you know Civ 5 and Beyond Earth don't have stacked units, right?
Well, do they still do like the basic attacks though, right? It's not, there's nothing strategic there. It's just drag one onto the other, finish, boom.
Well, you've got your infantry, archery, cavalry dynamic, the paper, rock, scissors there, and then it gets more complicated in the end game.
I mean, in Endless Legend, where it actually uses the terrain that you're near at the time. I love that. That is really cool.
It is, and I have, like, most of the time I automate those battles and just have it compare numbers and spit out a victory condition.
No!
But when it is really, when you absolutely need the win and you know it's not a sure thing, I'm really glad that's there, because I had a really cool round of it where I actually used the canyons that the battle map kept spawning into to stall out the enemy who had only brought infantry, so they couldn't keep up with me and get into the canyons to knock me out before the combat exchange ended. And I just stalled until the rest of my army could get home. And that was so cool. I felt so empowered by it.
That is awesome. That is.
See, all you have to do to wake James up was just talk about strategy games, and then he comes alive.
For those of you in the chat here with us on the Twitch thing, I'm going to look up that Endless Legend AI video and post it, because you really should watch that.
I showed it, but it doesn't show sound, which doesn't, It's not.
Yeah,
really
yeah.
doing it,
The
dude.
discussion is fascinating and comprehensible.
Also, I'd like to compliment the chat on on making fun of me for calling her the Pink Lady. They're
They
like,
called you out.
they're like,
That's how relevant she was to the game.
The Pink Lady's name is Amy, and then the other guy was like, nope, she's forever known as the Pink Lady now. So that made me laugh while you guys were talking about strategy games. So that's going to do it for this episode of the Technophilia Gaming Podcast. Thank you to our guest, Rob, who may not be a guest for much longer. You know, we may just make him not a guest. We'll see. I don't know.
Technophilia may adopt me.
Yeah, we might just make him come on here permanently, which would
Oh,
fuck
I thought you
up.
meant we were never going to have him back.
No,
again.
no. I meant we may just keep
He
him.
might not be a guest again after this performance. My
Yeah,
God.
he might just be the third co-host, and then we have a possible fourth co-host who we may have on at some point as well. We'll just go ahead and fuck up Rob's life and his streaming schedule by making him be on a podcast right in the middle of when he would normally stream. So
Yeah, I am going live right after this. So
yeah, Rob is a
one
workhorse,
of my
man.
things.
He's going from podcast to live streaming for
he
his
playing?
fans. Boom.
The Sims 4.
What's kind of
I'll be playing
Still
The Sims 4.
Sims?
Yeah, man.
How
that's
long have
what-
you been playing that now?
Since October of 2012, I've been playing The Sims.
You must
series.
have like 20 in-game children at least.
Well, no. I mean, it's time has gone on. People have lived and died. I don't artificially extend the lifespan. So, like the Sims 3 save that I played got to the 4th generation before the save file was so messed up that the game would stop running. But now we're on The Sims 4, so it's a completely fresh start. And that game is way less buggy and messed up than The Sims 3, even though it's a little less ambitious. So the gameplay is smooth, and I made a sim of me and my girlfriend, and we've had children, and so the 2nd generation has actually moved out of the house at this point.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's what his
Oh,
fans. It's what his fans expect. If he stopped doing The Sims, he just wouldn't be. Wouldn't be the Rob anymore.
Well, I mean, doing The Sims attracts a very specific crowd in general, and as long as I ban all the trolls who come in to make fun of me for playing The Sims, it's ended up being a really nice group who come in and just love the humor and the fun and the memories that the game creates.
Yeah, I remember when you did the Dota. Your fans were not.
Yeah, no one showed
not
up
in
for
love with it. I mean, they showed up at first, and then they were like, "What the fuck is this garbage?" And then they left.
What
I
is
can't
this
blame them,
sport
seriously,
doing?
Dota.
I'm just sad that you never actually came back and played Dota again, like not for stream. You know?
I'm an armchair Dota. I can watch and appreciate Dota as don't get me wrong, MOBAs are far and away the most entertaining competitive video games to watch, period. Like, I have never seen something be this successful and be as personally engaging. I can watch a MOBA match and be totally engaged with it and love it and enjoy the moments. I think, one of the big things that esports are missing is people need some way to decide what their favorite team is and root for someone. Because unfortunately, are you going to root for these Koreans or these various Westerners? There's no easy way to know which team to pick like there are with regional sports teams in physical sports.
Yeah, that is
Well,
definitely.
that's just what we really want, the animosity that arises from picking teams to go on online as well, don't we?
But that's what gives people.
That'll
That's
really
what
improve
keeps.
it.
That's what keeps people watching, though. Is the.
Yeah.
You've got to care who wins. You can't just watch it to appreciate what's going on. Like, people follow their favorite team in sports. They want to have regional pride.
Though, like in the case of Dota, there is like one particular, like mostly U.S. based team that is good, which would be the Evil Geniuses. So a lot of U.S. people just gravitate towards EG.
Mm.
Or there's like people will find a team based on like a guy that will do a stream not in actual game, just his stream, and that guy's funny. Like Sing Sing, for example, is a famous player who people just like his personality. So then they like Team Tinker because that's who he plays for. So there are ways for it, but you have to kind of. It's not like, well, I live in Connecticut. The closest team to me is the New York Yankees, so I like the Yankees. You do have to kind of dig a little bit to find a reason to like a team. But the reasons are there if you're willing to kind of dig in deeper. I'm sure LOL has the same type of thing going on. Although I don't know, I don't like LOL, so I think it looks funny. There you go. Now just make the people who like LOL want to come fight me. That's why I did.
Awesome. Yeah, that community is known for its civility. Good job, Dave.
That's a perfect way to end the show. Fuck League of Legends. Boom. So with that, make sure to leave us a review on iTunes if you're listening to this through audio, because that helps us and makes us happy. James will be a happy wolf if you do that. Look, I just saw his facial expression change. And
The face
I show
makes
you my
good.
tongue.
check us out. Yeah, as I'm saying something to the audio people, we are talking about the video, so that's great. Make sure to check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/the Technophilia, or no, Technophilia Podcast on Facebook. Twitter is the Technophilia. God, this is why Justin
We got a
used to do this
YouTube
stuff.
too.
Yeah, we got a YouTube, which is something. YouTube.com/Technophilia Podcast, same as the Facebook.
Do we want to share personal Twitter handles?
Yeah. We'll get there. Hold on. I got to make sure there's
Okay.
no other Technophilia shit. We got the Facebook, the Twitter, the Twitch the Twitch, twitch.tv/Technophilia Podcast. Make sure to subscribe to us on Twitch. My personal Twitter is @Sidox. Don't follow James on Twitter, as Justin used to say.
Seriously.
What is Rob's Twitter?
At Robert Wieselhan, all one word, WIESEHAN.
Which you can see on the screen if you're watching the live video. You can see his last name, how to spell it, in case you couldn't remember because your brain is too dumb and small. That's fine. We still love you. What's your Twitch channel, Rob, if anybody wants to check that out?
Twitch.tv/Bandana Rob. I stream 4 times a week. 2 of those times are continuing that ongoing Sims 4 story, and 2 of those times are variety gaming. I'm not sure what's going to be in the variety gaming slot lately. I'm still kind of figuring that out at the moment. Just got off of Civ Beyond Earth in that slot.
Sounds good.
God
Tomorrow,
damn it, I'm up to 624 Twitter follows. That's like 100 more since last time I checked. What are these idiots doing?
they want to know about Pizza Hut. Tomorrow, I am going to, on this channel, I'm going to stream some Goat MMO Simulator. I don't know what time, but it will be in the afternoon Eastern time, so maybe like 2 o'clock Eastern time-ish, around the same time as the podcast. I will stream some Goat MMO Simulator on our channel. So if you want to watch that bullshit nonsense, this is the place to watch that bullshit nonsense. With that, thank you very much for watching. James is giving you a close-up of his wolf tongue. We will see you guys next week at the same time.
I'm licking
Bye.
the camera. Oh, yeah. Bye-bye. Take that. Take that. Oh, yeah.